In the sterile, high-stakes world of corporate finance, where numbers were king and emotions were a liability, Alexander Thorne was a legend. He was the architect of empires, the ruthless strategist who never lost. But the gleam in his eyes had long since been replaced by a cold, calculating void. Years ago, he had lost everything that mattered, and in the process, he had lost his ability to truly feel, to truly laugh. His world was a fortress of solitude, built brick by brick with billion-dollar deals and sleepless nights. Into this fortress walked Amelia Vance, not with a battering ram, but with a quiet determination and a spreadsheet so impeccably organized it could make a grown man weep. She was a temporary intern, a fleeting presence in the grand scheme of Thorne Industries, brought in during the most critical merger of Alexander's career. She was supposed to be invisible, just another cog in the machine. But Amelia had a way of seeing things others missed. She saw the flicker of exhaustion behind Alexander Gay, the subtle tremor in his hand as he reached for his third coffee of the morning. Their first real interaction wasn't in a boardroom, but in the sterile quiet of the office kitchen late one night. Alexander was staring blankly at the coffee machine, as if trying to will it to work faster. Amelia, retrieving a forgotten file, noticed he'd been pressing the decaf button repeatedly. She cleared her throat softly. "Sir, I think you might be fighting a losing battle with the decaf." He turned, his expression unreadable. For a moment, she thought she had overstepped, a cardinal sin in his world. But then, something shifted, a tiny, almost imperceptible twitch at the corner of his mouth. "It seems," he said, his voice a low rumble, "that my strategic planning does not extend to caffeine acquisition." Amelia couldn't help the small smile that escaped. "Maybe a different approach is needed, a tactical retreat to the machine with the real firepower," she suggested, pointing to the other, far more intimidating espresso maker. He followed her gaze, and for the first time in what felt like a lifetime, a genuine, quiet chuckle escaped his lips. It was a rusty, unused sound, but it was real. In that moment, surrounded by the hum of servers and the scent of stale coffee, Amelia Vance, the temporary intern, had done the impossible. She had made Alexander Thorne laugh. This small moment became a crack in the armor. Alexander started noticing her. He'd find her meticulously organized notes attached to his reports, pointing out minor details, even as most senior analysts had overlooked. He'd see her in the break room, not gossiping, but quietly helping a junior colleague untangle a complex dataset. She moved through the office like a gentle current, leaving ripples of quiet competence in her wake. The merger was a beast, a relentless series of negotiations and all-night sessions. The pressure was immense, with rivals circling like sharks, waiting for a single drop of blood in the water. One evening, after a particularly brutal negotiation call, Alexander found Amelia in a small, unused conference room, surrounded by piles of financial documents. She was staring at a complex chart, a frown creasing her brow. He leaned against the doorframe. "Still here, Miss Vance?" She jumped, startled. "Mr. Thorne, I think I found something." She pointed to a line of data, a tiny anomaly that seemed insignificant. "This projection from the other side, it doesn't add up. It's too perfect. It feels like they're hiding a liability, burying it under layers of optimistic forecasts." Alexander walked over, his eyes scanning the chart. Most would have dismissed it as a rounding error, an intern's overzealous analysis. But he saw what she saw. The deliberate, almost artistic way the numbers were presented to conceal a flaw. He spent the next hour with her, not as a CEO to an intern, but as two keen minds dissecting a puzzle. He was astounded by her intuition, her ability to see the story behind the numbers. "You have a rare talent, Miss Vance," he said, the words feeling foreign on his tongue. He wasn't a man who gave compliments freely. "You see the details, but you also see the larger picture they paint." Her cheeks flushed, but her eyes held a steady confidence. "I just like things to make sense, sir." The tension between them began to change. It was no longer just the professional distance between a CEO and an intern. It was an electric current that hummed whenever they were in the same room. He started making excuses to walk past her desk, to ask for her opinion on documents she wasn't even assigned to. He'd find himself lingering, listening to her quiet, focused explanations, captivated by the passion she had for her work. He learned small things about her, that she doodled intricate, geometric patterns when she was deep in thought, that she always had a spare granola bar in her drawer for colleagues who missed lunch, that she spoke of her dream of one day using her financial skills to help small businesses, not just corporate giants. Each detail was another piece of a puzzle he found himself desperate to solve. He was a man who dealt in certainties, in black and white, but Amelia was a world of soft grays and unexpected colors he hadn't known he was missing. The climax of the merger approached. The opposing side grew more aggressive, their tactics more underhanded. The stress was taking its toll on everyone. One night, Alexander found Amelia on the rooftop terrace. The city lights spread out below them. She looked small against the vast skyline. Her shoulders slumped. "They're trying to wear us down," she said without turning, as if she knew he was there. "They're throwing everything at us, hoping we'll miss something vital." He stood beside her, a comfortable silence stretching between them. "They will," he said, his voice firm, "because they don't have you." She finally looked at him, her eyes searching his. "You think we can win this?" she asked, a hint of vulnerability in her voice. "I know we can," he replied. And in that moment, he wasn't just talking about the merger. He felt a certainty he hadn't experienced in years. A sense of purpose that went beyond balance sheets and profit margins. He saw a future where laughter wasn't a forgotten memory, where his fortress had a door, and where the person holding the key was the quiet, brilliant woman standing next to him. The final meeting was a war room. Tensions were at an old-time high. The other side presented their final offer, a complex package filled with hidden traps, all designed to look appealing on the surface. Alexander's team was on edge, but he was calm. He looked at Amelia, who gave him a barely perceptible nod. The anomaly she had found weeks ago was the key. It was the loose thread that, when pulled, would unravel their entire deceptive strategy. With surgical precision, Alexander began his counter-argument, using the very data Amelia had uncovered. He exposed their hidden liability, their inflated projections, their house of cards built on a foundation of lies. The room fell silent. The opposing CEO's face paled. It was a checkmate. He had lost. Those back in the office, a subdued celebration was underway. But Alexander wasn't interested in champagne or congratulations. He found Amelia by her desk, quietly packing her things. Her internship was over. The thought hit him like a physical blow. "Ms. Vance." "Amelia," he said, his voice softer than he intended. Saluted up a sad smile on her face. "Congratulations, Mr. Thorne. You were brilliant." "We were brilliant," he corrected her. He took a step closer. "Your internship is over, but I was hoping your time at Thorne Industries wasn't." He paused, the next words feeling like the biggest risk he'd ever taken. "There's a permanent position here for you. Director of Strategic Analysis, if you want it." Her eyes widened in surprise. It was a meteoric leap, unheard of for an intern. "But you've earned it," he said simply. "More than that, I don't want to go back to the way things were before you were here." He looked at her, his guard completely down for the first time. "You make me see the details I've been missing. Not just in the numbers, but everywhere." A single tear traced a path down her cheek, but she was smiling. A bright, beautiful smile that lit up her entire face. "I'd like that, Alexander," she said, using his first name for the first time. The sound of it from her lips was like coming home. The merger was won, but for Alexander Thorne, the real victory was just beginning. In the heart of the cold, corporate world, against all odds, he had found something far more valuable than any deal. He had found the one person who could make him laugh, the one who could make him feel again. And their story, a story of subtle glances, shared spreadsheets, an undeniable connection, was only just getting started. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please like, share, and subscribe for more.